Well, here I am at Britton Plaza in South Tampa. This is a open-air shopping plaza which opened on August 16th, 1956. And it's come to my attention recently that out-of-town developers bought this, so who knows what its fate is, but that usually means it's going to be torn down at some point. Let me start with the iconic arched road sign. Zoom in on that. It's been here from the start. That's Dale Mabry Highway out there. This is just going to be a very informal video, just telling you what I remember about the center over the years. I've been here 44 years, got here in '81, and what I've researched about it. This in-store, which is now Burlington, used to be Belk Lindsay of Britton in 1960. It was part of an expansion to the mall. The original mall ended at the theater over here, which is now Radiant Church. They added some shops 4 years later after the center was developed, and one of them was this Britton, or Belk Lindsay of Britton, which later became J. Byron's, then Upton's, now Burlington. Currently, you have Replay Guitar Exchange, which is a great little guitar shop. If you ever need to buy a guitar or have work done on yours, highly recommend them. Seems like I remember a newsstand in here when I got here in '81, and there was a laundromat. This Radiant Church was, of course, the theater. That only changed in recent years. It was a theater for years. Originally opened up in when the center did in 1956 as a venue that held almost 2,000 seats, and it was the largest theater in Tampa at the time. This whole center was built as an alternative to downtown shopping. Had a big, huge parking lot with free parking and about every store you could think of. I'll go over some of those original stores in a minute. You have Cell Doctor, NutriFit Sport, Plato's Closet, Once Upon a Child. And then there was a bigger storefront over here, which is now Furniture King. It just opened. Before that, it was Steinmart. When I got here in '81, it was Bill's Unclaimed Freight. And it originally, in '56, was a J.C. Penney. Someone's playing some music out here. Over on this north side, in recent years, they added a Michael's, a Marshall's, and a Big Lots. The Big Lots is no longer there, but that was nice additional shopping to the center. The Michael's and Marshalls are still in business. But this mall has been in decline over the years, probably due to online shopping, maybe the additional competition from West Shore Plaza and some of the other opportunities, but I think it's still a viable, nice center, really. But you can just see the decline over the years. There's more vacant storefronts now. Bell's recently moved out. Tuesday Morning moved out. Okay, over here to the left of the original Pennies, you have Play It Again Sports, Trendy Nail Bar, Dollar Tree, Fuji Buffet. This used to be, back in the day when it opened, National Shirt Shops, Shift Shoes, Learner Shops. They had a lot of shoe stores in here. A.S. Beck, Jarman's, Baker's, Tom McCann. They also had a Continental House, a gift shop. They had Fabric Mart. Even a cleaner's called Darby's, 1 hour dry cleaning and cleaners laundry, which they billed as used to advertise if you dropped your laundry or dry cleaning off, an hour later it would be ready after you were done shopping. There were 2 5 and 10s in this plaza. You had Grant's and Neisner's. You had Madison Drugs over there next to the Publix, Madison Rexall Drugs. Neisner's Variety 5 and 10 was over here in the corner. The old Tuesday Morning was here. And I think this is really cool that they left the lettering here in the terrazzo. You can see the old original 1950s brick. All this was left original. They did a facelift over the years, maybe late 80s, 90s, somewhere in there. They covered this whole center in wire mesh and put stucco over everything, and I guess that was supposed to make it better. This is what they did. Personally, I would have just liked to see the original Art Deco left alone. Anyway, this is 5 to $1 here at the old Neisner's. Then when you round the corner, this is a care center. It used to be Tom McCann Shoes. The Grants was over here. Next to that, you had Madison's Rexall Drugs. And then you had a Publix. And this Publix over here was the old Art Deco style with the big wings coming out in front. Over the years, it's been torn down a couple different times and rebuilt. Albertsons had it for 20 years. Now it's a Publix again. Kind of came full circle. It's just not in the original structure, but it's in the original positioning within the center. Here's the old Bells. When I got here in '81, I think this was a De Sears local appliance store. And right in here was the Rexall, Madison Rexall Drugs. By the way, if you have any stories of Britton Plaza and you're shopping here, anything about its history you want to share, feel free to leave it in the comments. There was also an S&S cafeteria in here that a lot of people were raving about, I saw online. If you happen to know where that was within the plaza, that would be really neat to know. The old Tapper Pub is still here. I'm walking to that right now. When I got here in '81, that was here, still here. I think that's probably one of the few businesses that is still here. When I got here in '81, there was a frame shop in here, an optical shop. Tapper Pub. Now there's an area here that they used to call the mall section of this outdoor plaza. They had a fish pond in here with benches where people could take a break from shopping. There was a clothing store called Egner Diaz down at the end. Again, you can see that 1950s block or brick here. Anyway, it'll be sad to see this plaza go. It provided a nice alternative to some of the snooty, expensive stuff at International Plaza, you know, with the Neiman Marcus and the Nordstrom and stores like that. But as you can see, it's certainly still pretty vibrant. There's a lot of A lot of cars here, a lot of people shop here still. Just a piece of Tampa history. Now let me stop here and I can see that iconic arch sign from a different angle. I'm going to zoom in. Trying to think of anything else I can remember about this plaza. Again, it opened August 16th, 1956 to a lot of fanfare, L-shaped center, the little mall area. It's been a great shopping center for South Tampa, and it will truly be missed, in my opinion. I do appreciate you tuning into my channel. I did a video recently on West Shore Plaza. Feel free to check that out. I'll leave a link for that. Because ironically, the malls, which caused the start of the decline of these open air malls, the enclosed malls are now in decline themselves. So just seems like almost all the malls are failing, whether they're the old open air ones or the indoor ones. I mean, International Plaza seems to be pretty healthy still at this point, but who knows what fate it has in the future. Okay, I'm gonna take one last scan, and I appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you in the next one.